Welcome to another episode of Website Critiques with Bryan and Chris. I'm Chris,
I'm Bryan.
and today we're doing GR Design and Photography's website. So let's just dive it right in.
Awesome. So here we are on the homepage. One of the things that I like about how he's got the homepage designed is from first look, it looks like I'm looking at a portal, right? So it's kind of like, hey, welcome, where can we take you? And I think that's really smart. We've talked about that a lot on other website critiques, that it's not a great idea to dump someone into sort of the buffet. I think in the last episode we used the buffet analogy. So from what I'm seeing here, it looks like I'm going to click one of these and then I'm going to be guided into what I identify.
Yeah, it's looking promising.
Yeah.
It's looking promising. I would make a comment that the text I find is a little small. Like I don't know if people are going to connect with it as much. If you could bring the text up a little bit in font size.
Yeah.
However, yeah, you know what? It's looking promising so far.
Now I do have concerns about if you're gonna have one of these, like, welcome, where would you like to go type feeling things. I don't know if having things like blog and contact there is as useful. It might be, but it's just another thing that they can click away from that is not them identifying who they are when they're on your website. I kind of like the idea of it being, I think we again talked about this in the last episode, where you're kind of letting people identify, like, who are you? Say who you are, and then choose the option and then dive deeper into that. So giving them other options like social media or blog or contact might be a little bit distracting. And also, the options that you have are baby corner, grown-up section, and graphic design. I'm not really sure what baby corner and grown-up section mean, so I don't know if that is me or not. I don't know what graphic, I mean, if I'm a client coming here, do I know that I'm looking to hire you for graphic design? I don't know. So I might clarify those a little bit. We talk a lot about story brand on here, and framing this where it's more like, identify yourself. And you can say, maybe a better option would be like, I'm having a baby, I'm looking for headshots, I need a graphic designer. Like something that's more sort of purpose driven as opposed to the kind of cutesy thing. And that's actually something that we see a lot, is you try and get fancy with your wording, or you try and get cutesy with the way that you want to frame things. But sometimes when you do that, you end up complicating things for people,
sure.
right? Like they don't understand what you're talking about.
Reminds me of a book. I don't know if you've ever read it. It's called Don't Make Me Think.
No.
Right. So I haven't actually read it either, full disclosure.
Right.
However, I've done some, it is on my to-do list or to-read list. But one of the concepts of the book, which is so interesting, is the fact that anything like that, anytime you're going to have a little bit different terminology, you're actually making your users think. And as soon as they start to think, I mean, it's definitely a design concept. As soon as they start to have to think a little too hard and spend those extra calories on brain cycles, like they're just going to check out. I don't know if brain cycles is a real thing, but they're going to check out, right? So, and that's a problem. So yeah, I totally agree. Like simplifying that, and maybe even saying like, yeah, like you said, like I'm looking for headshots. I'm looking, be really specific, be really just straightforward with the fact that those two sections are photography sections. What exactly are they are the graphic design one, and then I agree with your sentiment about the blog and the contact links. I don't necessarily think you should have to get rid of the blog and contact links on this page in case people are looking for those.
Right.
But almost not having them in that, where do you want to go section.
Have this like a secondary.
Exactly. And then having like a little bit of an intro statement above that. Just I mean, this is such an important page that a lot of people are going to be landing on, and really trying to kind of start that conversation with them, start that story with them, I think is important.
Yeah. I think the big takeaway in this, and I actually do want to get into the logo as well, and also the background that's changing on us right here. The biggest takeaway so far that I'm sort of hearing is like, we don't want to make people think when they come to your website, right? We want to help them get what they need. We want to help them find what they're looking for, and we don't want to make it difficult. We don't want to get in their way. I mean, it's already enough of a challenge for people to find your website, find what they're looking for, connect with what you have, enjoy your photography, connect with your belief system, your personality, that sort of thing, and then finally get in touch with you. Anything else that we put in the way of that is just going to make it that much more difficult for them to actually do what you want them to do, which is book you as their photographer.
Yeah. Totally agree.
So talk to me, like, what are your thoughts on the changing background here?
I don't dislike it as much as the last time we saw
Okay.
this. So in a previous episode, there was another changing background, and it was a slider, and we said it was pretty distracting. You could definitely make the argument that this one's distracting, but the fact is that it is full screen, so I don't actually mind the movement as much.
Right.
I can connect with a little bit, like that looks like graphic design. I don't know what the point of that one is.
Yeah.
Right. So I'd almost rather see something to do with the website. It would actually be really cool that if you like moused over baby corner, for example, it would like change the background to make it look like baby corner or grown up section, whatever it is. Right. It's just kind of something interesting. But I don't know. What do you think?
So I guess I wonder if the point of this is to act as almost like a window into the sort of next step for your visitors' sort of journey with you on your website. I wouldn't want them to be on this page long enough that they would see the background change.
Oh, that's
I'd almost
interesting.
want them to come there, boom, identify what they're looking for, and then go into that section.
Right.
Because I feel like, for me, as soon as I came here, I was actually waiting for, okay, well, is there going to be a third graphic? Now that we've seen it enough times, we know there's only two, but it's just another stumbling block. I'm coming here, I see one, I'm like, okay, as I'm kind of reading and figuring out what I'm going to do, and then I see this next, I'm like, okay, cool, so what's next? And now I'm kind of waiting, and it's like, oh, okay, it's back to the first one. So I just kind of burned more calories than I needed to burn in doing that. I'm also wondering what the relevance is in having a gift certificate in the background and then some other conceivably random, sort of illustration in the background. They just seem disconnected to me a little bit.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I would agree.
So
yeah.
I actually prefer this one, the blue background. It's just simple. It keeps it straightforward. Again, I would still argue what's the relevance in what it is. Maybe it's just a branding design element. I'm not sure. But I feel like it's just distracting and it's taking my attention away from trying to figure out what I want to do on this page. And then it also leaves me curious, which makes me want to spend more time here, which this isn't where you should be having people spend time.
Right.
So
no, that's a good call. Yeah. This is really a gateway. This is a door to the rest of the website, right? This is the door that you walk up to when you're walking up to that Starbucks and you open the door and you walk in and have the rest of the experience, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's almost like imagine walking up to that door and then like the doors keep changing and you're just like, wait,
flashing.
Like, what's happening, right? It's like if all these things are changing, there's almost just too much happening. Like you just want to keep it simple. Like, hey, are you a mom? Click here. Are you looking for headshots? Click here. Boom. Keep it simple. Right. Keep it sort of undistracted. And that brings me now to my sort of thought on the logo. The logo it's very ornate. It's very detailed. Without getting into critiquing the logo design, my main concern, and you and I actually had this before we started recording, it took us a second to figure out that it was GR design and photography. Like that and symbol is a very ornate and symbol. And I don't know if the average person would recognize that. And so I just would want to think a little bit about keeping perhaps the logo design perhaps a little bit simpler.
Yeah,
what
for
are your
sure.
thoughts?
I agree. I think simplifying a logo is always could be a good idea.
Yeah.
I would just always be careful on how much you change your logo. I hate it when companies come in
Right.
and they make this massive change to their logo and then nobody recognizes them anymore. So you do want to make tiny changes if you do, but changing that ampersand out to something that's a little bit easier to read, that kind of stuff is definitely a good idea. If this was a logo design critique, we could
Totally different thing.
go even
Yeah,
deeper, but
for
I
sure.
mean, but definitely I don't mind the ornateness and stuff of the logo, but I would agree. Yeah.
For sure. Cool. All right.
Good.
So join us back on the next episode where we're going to start diving into this website, giving feedback on the actual content and design inside the website.